quilting friend, it is your quilting friend Emily, and today we are going to sew my new favorite table topper. This is called Tea for Two. This cozy little table topper is perfect for a weekend project because it is quick and meaningful and a beautiful way to use up your fabric stash. So whether you are going to make this for yourself or gift it to one of your people, or better yet, gift it to one of your favorite nonprofits to be able to raffle off, this is the kind of project that just feels good to finish. So go ahead and grab it right in the show notes in this YouTube description, and there is an optional sewing guide. The sewing guide workbook is going to walk you through exactly what fabrics to cut out, also space to be able to go through your fabric stash and write out which fabrics that you are going to use, in addition to big check mark spots so that as you're going through the steps, you can just check mark it. In case if you have to get up and go do something, you can come right back down and know exactly where you left off and what you need to keep going on. We are going to be making this project on the first Sunday of the month in August. So if this is after August, not a big deal. Still get that pattern, still get that sewing guide, and we are going to be sewing this right now in this video step by step. But if you would like to sew this right online, in person, with amazing, kind, and caring quilters, I am personally inviting you to join us on the first Sunday of the month at 10 a.m. and all the information is right in the show notes. And now let's go ahead and start sewing this. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to gather your fabrics. So you'll notice on the pattern, there are two different main print square fabrics, and in this tutorial, and I might still have a few fabric kits left of this, this is my main fabric A, and then we have our main fabric B, lemons and limes. Just fun and playful. So you'll need two different main fabrics, then you are going to need your sashing fabric. So yet again, two different sashing color fabrics. I decided to go with the yellow for the lemon and then the lime with the green, but I might very well mix it up. So I very well might go like this for my sashing and then go with this for my other sashing. Honestly, I am not quite sure, but that is the best part about quilting, is that we get to make it up as we go. Then we're going to need our background fabric. And for the background fabric, I went with this really nice light blue teal color because it matches absolutely brilliantly with my border fabric. So this is my border fabric, and you'll notice I've already started cutting it out, but I wanted to show you exactly how I'm going to cut this out because this is from a border fabric. So that's the selvage edge right there. I cut the fabric right on the fold so that we've got this wicked long piece, and this is what I am going to use as my border fabric on the pattern. We are going to go through each of these steps step by step together. Let's go ahead and set that right to the side. Okay, so again, we have our two main color fabric, bada bing, bada boom. Then we have our two sashing fabrics, set those right there. And then we have our background fabric. And all of the dimensions for this particular pattern is right on the actual pattern. Again, $2 digitally downloaded. I can't give away what the dimensions are, what the sizes that I cut each of these out at, because I didn't create the pattern. So we have to give credit where credit is due. And again, as you are looking at your fabric stash and you're not quite sure what fabrics you want to pull from, not a big deal. Grab that sewing guide workbook because it'll not only give you different fabric combinations to choose from, but it also gives you a workspace to be able to write out your different options at. Anything to make our lives easier. So let's go ahead and start sewing our center block. So our center blocks are the main color fabrics, and this is where I need to make the choice. Am I going to go like this, the yellow, or am I going to match it with the green? You know what? I am going to go with the yellow. Final decision. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and grab our square. We are then going to grab whatever sashing fabric that we wish. We are going to place our fabrics right sides together, and then we are going to sew it right onto the side, and we are going to sew our 1/4 of an inch. Now that we have that sewn, let's go ahead and just take our fabric piece. We're gonna flip it right around so that we can sew the opposite side of our sashing fabric. So we're gonna put this like that. That's what we just sewed. We're gonna take our next fabric pieces, right sides together. So that basically just means the pretty sides together. Then we are going to do that yet again. Sew our 1/4 of an inch, zipping all the way down. After we have that sewn, we're then gonna just go right to our ironing station, and I am so lucky that my ironing station is right here, and we are going to press our seams away from what we just sewed because we're gonna sew our final sashing on the top and then on the bottom. Let's press. Here we go, got that pressed, grabbing our topsies, topsies and bottomsies, right sides together, 1/4 of an inch, zipping all the way down. Now that we have that sewn, we're gonna go ahead and flip it around and do that to the other side. So we got this sewn on, do that to the opposite side, right sides together. So now that we have that sewn, next we're gonna go ahead and press our seams yet again. Okay, so now that we pressed our seams, here is our very first block. We're gonna do this exact step onto our second block. So next we're gonna take our limes, then we're gonna take our greens. Let's go ahead and sew that right to the top and bottoms. Now that we have that sewn, let's go ahead and press our seams. Now, when it comes to pressing your seams, do whatever you wish. I strongly feel like there's not a right and there's not a wrong answer. You want to press your seams open, go for it. Just don't do the stitch in the ditch when you go ahead and finish it. If you want to press them towards the darker side, go for it. You want to press them out, go for it. Truly, you get to decide. So now that we have our sides, now we're gonna do the others. So the other side, so we've got our topsies and our bottomsies. Let's go ahead and sew that. Okay, so now that we have our both sewn, we need to do this a few more times, but the magic of show business is I'm going to rush through, get these sewn, and then I'm going to see you when I add on the backing. I'm gonna go ahead and have this fabric be my background A. So with this fabric being my background A, I'm gonna place it right on top of my sewing machine. Then with grabbing my background color fabric, I'm gonna place my fabric right sides together. The nice thing about these particular fabrics, the A and B's, are square fabrics, is that they are non-directional. So I don't have to worry about which direction they are gonna be facing, and I highly recommend that you do the same. Don't worry about directional fabric, but if you do, just take a little extra time and just make sure that you fussy cut it out. But I'm just gonna go ahead and take my fabric, take my background fabric, place the fabrics right sides together. I am going to be sewing this on the bottom of the square, 1/4 of an inch going all the way down. Now that we have that sewn, we're gonna go ahead and press yet again. So now that we have that sewn, this is going to be on my bottom. Again, I'm going to place it right on my sewing machine. Then I'm going to grab the other background to complete block A. So take my other background fabric. I'm just making sure that it is right sides together. This fabric is pretty light, but I'm just going to go ahead and place it right on top and then sew my 1/4 of an inch, zipping all the way down. Now that we have that sewn, let's go ahead and press our seams yet again. And there is our very first block done. So actually it goes like this. Okay, so now we have our very first block done. It goes just like this. Now let's go ahead and sew our block letter B. So again, with the pattern, you'll know how many times you need to do that. But next we're gonna go on to block number B. Number B, letter B. Okay, so here we go. We've got our block. Then what we're gonna do, basically what we just kind of just did, where we're going to take our bottom, our bottom sashing fabric, placing the fabrics right sides together. Now that we've got that sewn, you know the drill. Let's go ahead and press. Now that we have this sewn on the bottom, we're gonna go ahead and sew our side. This is our other background rectangle, and we're gonna sew it yet again right to the right hand side. And then now that we have that pressed, now we officially have both of our blocks sewn. And then it's literally the way that we keep flip-flopping these, which is what is going to help us create that adorable movement throughout that table topper. I am so excited about this progress that I just had to share it with you. Okay, so this is on my floor, but you could absolutely use a dining room table. Now what I've done was I added on my borders. It seriously makes the entire table topper. Oof. That lighting. Okay, I will work on the lighting. Anyways, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna sew our squares onto our background fabric, and we're gonna be doing that going all the way down. So the tops to the bottoms going all the way down. Then we are going to sew the rows together. Now, let me show you. Okay, so what we're gonna be doing is we are sewing the top of the rows to the bottom of the rows. And then these rows are going to be going together right sides together, just like that. After we go ahead and sew all of our tops to our bottoms, then we are going to sew these sides right together. So again, we're going to sew the top to the bottom, press our seams, then we're going to go ahead and sew the rows together side by side. See you in the next step. Okay, so the fabric pieces are right behind me on the floor. The magic of show business, you can't see them, but I'm just going to pick them up one right after another. Here are my 2 rows that I am going to be sewing together. And again, we are just going to have them laid out right on the table, or like I'm doing, having it right on the floor, so that when it goes to sewing your rows together, it's just going to make your life a little bit easier because you'll know exactly what fabric piece to pick up, especially when you are sewing your entire table topper from the start to the finish line. And don't worry, I'll show you exactly what I mean, but just start with the top of the table topper, and then you're just gonna go all the way down and sew all of the rows together. As the example, here is the end of the table topper right here. So that is our next piece right here. So now we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna spin right around, and I'm gonna grab my other piece, and I'm gonna sew it right here, so that we just build our entire table topper together, just the entire length of it. Let's keep sewing. Okay, I just picked up my other piece. I've got my fabric pieces right sides together, and away we sew, going all the way down. So right now I am sewing on the very last row, or the very bottom of the row. Okay, yay. So now we have our entire table topper sewn. Let's go ahead and press our seams, just going all the way down. Then we are going to add on the border. Okay, so now that we have our seams nice and crisp and pressed, now we are going to go on to adding our border fabric. And that, of course, is right behind me. Here is our super fun and playful border fabric. Fabrics right sides together, which basically just means the 2 pretty sides together. And then we are going to sew going all the way down the entire table topper. I am so in love with this. So here is our completed table topper. Yes, yet again, right on the floor. Let's go ahead and just zoom in. Oh, it's a little bit tricky with the camera, but look how stinking cute. I am loving that border, obviously loving the print. And yeah, because yep, this pattern is a $2 pattern. Grab yours today. Grab the quilt kits if we have any left for this adorable fabric kits. And until next time, I am Emily from Quilting Your Legacy, your quilting friend, and I cannot wait to sew with you soon.